Joining me now with more is Dr. Mark Dybul. He is the CEO of Enochian Biosciences and a professor of medicine at Georgetown University Medical Center. Dr. Dybul, welcome. Thanks very much for being with us. So you predict that we are likely going to see a fully vaccine-resistant coronavirus strain by the coming spring. Why do you believe that?
Well, we actually made this prediction a while ago. It's basic immunology. You have a virus that's rapidly mutating and partial vaccination around the world. And that puts immune pressure on the virus to mutate. We've already seen this. We forget Lambda and Mu, which fortunately did not take off, was resistant to the Chinese vaccine that had been administered in Latin America, Sinovac. And this vaccine, or this strain, Omicron, is resistant to the current vaccines. The effectiveness against infection is down to 30% in the study in South Africa and the United Kingdom. So we already have vaccine-resistant strains. Fortunately, with boosting anyway, it does seem that you can have protection against hospitalization and death, but the virus will continue to mutate. The only question is how deadly will the variants be? And we still don't have an answer to that question on Omicron.
Well, a senior Biden administration official told Axios, quote, "Everything points to a large wave. A large wave is coming." What do you make of that assessment, doctor, and what might that large wave look like?
Well, there's no question it's coming. We're actually in the middle of a large wave. We're at 120,000 cases a day, as you just reported, which is as high as we've been throughout this pandemic. And what we've seen in Southern Africa and Europe is a significant increase with Omicron because it's even more transmissible than Delta. So we will have a huge wave. We could be up to 200,000 or even more than that in terms of diagnoses a day. The question will be, how protected are we from hospitalization and death? And there, in South Africa, we're not seeing a lot of hospitalizations and very few deaths, but they also had a wave with another variant a while ago, their first wave, where they didn't see a lot of hospitalizations and deaths either. We'll have to wait and see from Germany, the UK, Denmark, the Netherlands, who are a couple of weeks ahead, or a week or so ahead of the rest of Europe. In the next couple of weeks, we'll know how much protection there is and how deadly this variant is in Europe and the United States.
Well, a significant portion of the U.S. population seems opposed to COVID vaccination, no matter what. What can you tell us about some of the treatments that are in development for those who are infected?
Well, you just reported a very important one, the Pfizer therapy, which is 2 pills for 5 days, one pill twice a day. There's a Merck product.
Dr. Dybul, you dropped out there for just a moment, but the last thing we heard was you discussed the Merck treatment. What was the other one that you were mentioning?
Pfizer, which you just reported on, and that is a very effective product. But the Merck one is not as much. They're also neutralizing antibodies, but those aren't as effective and might not even work against these strains. So what we really need, the problem with all of these therapies and vaccines is it doesn't stop transmission. It doesn't stop the virus from replicating in our nose and mouth and spreading. And that's why the product we're working on at Enochian Biosciences that will kill the virus in the nose and mouth, we believe potentially, can actually stop spread, both stop the virus from causing disease, but also stop spread of the virus to any other person. And that's what we really need. And we need a strong investment, a warp speed, in my view, to find products like that not only help with treatment, but stop spread of the infection to other people.
Can you break that down a bit more for us? So you are the CEO of Enochian Biosciences, which is working on that nasal spray to combat the virus. So you're talking about transmissibility, right? And that's what the nasal spray is aimed at. Because the difference, obviously, being with a pill, that is something that works within someone's bloodstream, to kind of circulate. So can you talk a bit more about specifically why you think the nasal spray might be an effective tool in this fight?
Well, exactly what you said, whether it's a drug, and again, the Pfizer product is very good, and I hope as many people as can take it. But also vaccines are systemic. They're creating antibodies in your bloodstream that can fight the virus once it gets inside and help protect you from getting sick. But it doesn't stop, and we know this from going back to the Provincetown outbreak with Delta, that people who are vaccinated have as much virus in their noses, mouth as unvaccinated people. And that's likely the case with oral therapies like the Pfizer product. So if you have a lot of virus in your nose and mouth, you're protected, but you can transmit it to someone else. And that's what we need. And that's what nasal therapies like the one we have that actually kill the cells that harbor the virus, so you can't spread the virus to anyone else, and it could also protect you. Now we are in our preclinical phase, but we're hoping to get to clinic as quickly as possible and to advance as quickly as possible. Other companies are working on other products, so I hope there's a mix of them. But we're very encouraged by the early data that we have today, and hope to be able to move quickly. But really, like warp speed we had for vaccines, we need that same type of warp speed for this type of treatment that's a triple threat. Prevents people from getting infected, prevents spread of the virus to other people, and potentially, and our product has this potential, serves as a prophylaxis that could actually protect people almost like a vaccine for 6 months or so.
So two things. What do you see as the time frame for your product potentially, and how do you see this pandemic playing out in, say, the next 5 years?
So we hope we can move as quickly as possible and get through the regulatory processes. We're starting animal studies, and we hope to be able to move, but we have to get a lot of different studies done for toxicity and other things. And here again is why we need something like warp speed for therapy, and not only for us, but for other companies working on similar products. I think it's too early to predict where we're going. It seems like we will have coronavirus, this type of pandemic with us for quite a while as variants continue to emerge. And that's why products like the ones we're working on that could be protected against all forms of the virus are so important. But also, we don't know how long we will get sick from something like coronavirus, or if it will just become like the common cold. And that could happen over time, that it continues to mutate, is highly transmissible, but doesn't cause a lot of sickness and death. Or it will be like influenza, where we need to get vaccines or therapies that are preventive and prophylaxis for about as long as a vaccine, for example, and do that every 6 to 8 months to prevent future infections. We don't know that yet. The 5-year outlook is difficult to predict, but it does seem this coronavirus is with us for a very long time, potentially becoming like influenza.
Yeah, the science is still very much emerging on this. Dr. Mark Dybul, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.